Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
I've been asking in the Discord, like, can someone explain this? Hope everyone had a nice Thursday. I took a much needed night off from betting MLB baseball because the last couple of weeks for me, every single time I get my bearings and have a winning day, I give it right back the next night. And the last couple of weeks have been a struggle for me. That and a combination of there was only 5 games on the board and I didn't really like anything. It was needed. So here we are on Friday. Definitely have some bets down today, though. There's a lot of action on the board, a lot of suspicious pricing, which I'm very curious to see what these guys are going to say about the Boston Red Sox price today, because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I don't know. But we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and start with Arizona on the road in Pittsburgh. A couple people in the Discord are big on the Pirates here. I was leaning towards Arizona. I didn't bet it. I mean, I know that Toast also likes Luis Ortiz. I know you're a Luis Ortiz guy, but Arizona against a righty, Brandon Pfaadt's been okay. Put up Arizona money line for me, prop for this. I think I have 6 bets down. This isn't one of them, but it would only be Arizona for me here. The much better team with, I mean, maybe you could say an even starting pitching matchup, but no question, Arizona's lineup is far better than pitcher. I know Pirates have been winning some games here and there, but the lineup isn't putting together a consistent offense. Either of you guys want to talk about this game?
It's Pirates or pass for me. I understand that Arizona has been very good against right-handed pitching, but the last 2 that they saw, Mitch Keller and Joe Adon, they started to fall off a little bit. I really like Luis Ortiz. I think that he has been, fantastic this season. He was really good for them last season. I guess at the end of the year. I just don't like the fact that both of these teams just saw each other less than a week ago. Brandon Pfaadt has faced the Pirates once this year, once last year. Hasn't looked good either time against them, but he's starting to pitch a lot better, except for, of course, his last start against the Pirates. So I lean Pirates just because they're at home. I feel like the starting pitching advantage is a wash as well. And I guess I trust the Pirates bullpen just a little bit more than Arizona's until they absolutely get rid of Seawald out of that closer spot, because you can't deny the fact that he's just blowing games.
Yeah,
for them.
I can't even believe what he's doing.
I'm over him.
Yeah, so the fact that he's in the back end and he still has his job makes it really hard for me to get to Arizona money line. So it'd be Pittsburgh or pass for me.
Yeah, I had Arizona -1. I had Arizona -1.5 before, what was it, a day or 2 ago. Paul Sewald just made me fall to my knees and cry. Not that that's an abnormal thing that I do in Cole's aisles with,
Cole's aisles.
Arizona money line, but I'm not going to play it. It's like a perfectly efficient price. Ortiz has been better. I don't know if I'm a Luis Ortiz guy. I don't even know if his parents think they're Luis Ortiz guys. But, I mean, Brandon Pfaadt, 288 xWOBA. He's been pretty solid overall. Started a surge at the second half of last season. I've been impressed by him. It's always difficult coming out of the Pacific Coast League and figuring out who somebody's going to be. I think the metrics at the big league level have played out about what we would expect for like a highly touted prospect. He was, a distant 5th rounder back in the day, but I really like the sweeper. I think the sinker is going to end up panning out here eventually. It's already been amazing in terms of a run prevention. 170 expected batting average against 35.5% whiff percentage. The sinker not really getting any misses, but overall, I just look at the Pirates lineup, solid enough. Just stay away from this game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. It seems like none of us really like it. Toast is definitely a Luis Ortiz guy.
I don't know if I've lost a betting on him once this year. I'm dead serious when I say that.
He's definitely been good. All right, next game. Royals Tigers. I do have a bet down on this one. Toast, you're on the same bet, so go ahead and tell them what we're on.
Royals money line, bet it last night as soon as it dropped at -105. Yeah, Scooble's very, very good. There's no question about that. But I like the fact this is going to be the 3rd time the Royals are seeing him. And for me, I can't ignore Cole Reagan's splits, not to mention the fact that this Detroit lineup is absolutely terrible right now. But Cole Reagan's versus lefties, obviously not as good against righties, but unfortunately for the Tigers, they're going to have 7 right-handed bats in the lineup. The only 2 lefties in the lineup, one of them Perez is a switch, and Colt Keith, who's been pretty decent for him. But I expect Cole Reagan's to mow down this Detroit lineup. And then the fact that you have a Detroit lineup, like I just talked about, that doesn't have Riley Green in it, traded away Mark Canha, which I understand that he's not that great, but at least he's a veteran presence. Now you're bringing in guys like Ryan Valade and Javi Baez at the end of that lineup. It's just really, really bad. I just don't understand this price. I mean, to be dead honest with you. So either this is an absolute trap or So Casey money line for me.
Look at you backing my guy Cole Reagan's. Look at
I'm on it too. And I've been
I saw this lineup roll out. I did the same thing. Kansas City. You can get it at even money right now too. There's a couple of shops where you can get that. So if you have access to that, sweet. -1 of 3. Happy to be laying that here too. Kansas City across the board. This is like one of those ESPN things where somebody's going to screenshot this and post it on Twitter once Detroit wins 15-4. So that'll be fun.
And the price. This is another one. This is another one where I feel the price is a little bit sketchy. I mean, look, we're polling at over 70% Kansas City. So it's not like we're the only 3 guys out there betting the Royals. I would imagine they're taking Royals action. I did get it at +100 last night. But here's one thing. This is what got me over the edge. I was trying, because obviously when I look at it, I'm like, Scoople's not enough to be favored against them. The Royals are better everywhere. There was one thing holding it up. It was that the Tigers have gotten to the last few lefties that they've seen. But you got to look at the dates on it, because you know, I know how many lefty pitchers the lefty starters the Tigers have seen in the last month. 2. Yeah, they got to Kikuchi and James Paxton. Who hasn't? I mean, so if you take into account that they haven't seen much left-handed pitching at all in the last month, just 2 starters. And now you got Cole Reagan's, who, like Toast said, has been a beast on the road. In his last 4 road starts, 267 ERA, 104 whip. His numbers are about the same as that full season on the road. So this dude's been solid on the road all year. The price is a little sketchy. Definitely feeling a little bit square on this bet, but I'm on the Royals.
And just to add really quickly with Detroit versus left-handed pitching, Kyle just talked about them with Kikuchi and Paxton, but Suarez, Max Fried, Patrick Corbin, Mitchell Parker, all
very good.
No, just went to the Matrix quick. Now he's back.
Oh, no, he's back. For some reason, I can't see him, but he can go.
Oh, there you go.
I'll just leave and come back real quick.
I'll just throw this in there. Cole Reagan's actually beating out Tariq Skubal in WAR by 0.1, which is kind of a wild deal. Like when you just compare the two, because Tariq Skubal sitting with a 2.79 xFIP. I also, this is like a late season MLB kind of take to throw out there for the people. I do think you're going to see some pitching limitations on guys like Tariq Skubal going forward. I doubt you get to 100 pitches the rest of the way for him for a non-competing Tigers team. And I think that just gives me a little bit more comfort in backing Reagan's in this spot, a Kansas City team that's rolling, that's had a pretty favorable schedule out of the All-Star break. And I think it's just going to continue to keep rolling. This is just a weird price to me.
No, I'm so glad that you said that, because on top of that, Skubal just faced Minnesota and Cleveland back-to-back as well. Like if Detroit is in this spot and they take another, maybe they get swept in this series, Detroit essentially has nothing left to play for. Whereas 2-3 weeks ago, maybe you can make a case that if they were buyers and stuff like that with Flaherty on there, but now that you can't make that case anymore. So there's no reason for them to risk it.
Yeah, and Paul DeJong isn't like some world beater by any means, batting 8th here for Kansas City, but it's just like, it's improvement over anything else that would have been in that 7-8 hole for them. So it's an improved lineup post deadline, and it just makes all the sense in all the land to be back in Kansas City in this kind of a spot. It's just the weirdest price of the day. I think this is weirder than the Boston one.
And also Freddie in the bottom of that lineup, Freddie Furman is really good against Skubal's pitch mix and stuff. So there's a lot of things to like about Kansas City.
All
right, we're a Royals program today. Next game,
for sure
please.
Kyle's going to make fun of me for going through my papers.
I'll never be wrong.
Lindy is an enlightened soul that actually has his notes on the computer, like me. Toast literally flips through pages to get there. There you go. There you go. Exactly.
Invest in an iPad, and then you never have to worry about anything. You can write it, and then it figures my fucking shitty handwriting out, and it looks good. It makes my life easy.
I'll take one better. I type it.
Tried that.
Yeah, you
I
can write
try
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's
My
thing.
handwriting is like doctor bad though. So
Yeah.
All right, next up is Milwaukee, Washington. I did place a bet on this one. It's one of my smaller bets. I just backed the pitching matchup here, Irvin against Montas. Now, I know that Washington's lineup is a shell of itself. That's for sure, but they are still going to have a few dangerous lefties at the top of it. Frankie Montas on the road, fade. Frankie Montas against lefty bats, fade. Jake Irvin has been solid, and the Brewers' bats are trending in the wrong direction. Now, obviously, we know the Brewers' lineup is going to be better than the Nationals' lineup moving forward. By no means am I saying the Nats' lineup is better. There's a reason I'm sticking to the first five. In the late innings, the Brewers should have the advantage across the board. Offensively, bullpen, you name it. But in the first 5 innings, I feel like I have the huge starting pitching advantage. And the fact that they still have a couple of nice lefty bats in the lineup remaining there in Washington. I think I got it at plus 100 I have first 5 money line prop Beaver.
same.
So yeah, I 100% could see Washington blowing this game late. Don't want anything to do with the late innings. It should be all Milwaukee. But as far as the first 5, Irvin against Montas, especially Montas on the road against lefty bats, sign me up.
I'm on the same play, but I don't want to keep on going in front of Lindy. So if you got anything, Lindy, go ahead.
Oh, you're just fine. No, we've got a great order going. We got a
All right. I always feel bad. Like if I always go second, because
This isn't a first date, baby. This is date number 8. You can get right to the good stuff. You don't have
the only thing I can really add is that I will give you guys that Jake Irvin has been a little bit suspect on the road, but his last 4 home starts, he's at a 2.08 ERA, a 0.96 WHIP. I think that he should pitch well here today against this Milwaukee team that, against starting right-handed pitching, my boy Bryce Elder, shout out Bryce Elder, pitched fantastic against them. Grant Holmes pitched well against them. Jamison Tyone pitched well against them. Javier Assad pitched well against them. I don't think it's crazy to believe that Jake Irvin pitches well here against them here today. So Kyle's 100% right, though. You want absolutely nothing to do with that Washington bullpen right now. So maybe James Wood gets one on the ball. I think I kind of like him today. But yeah, Washington first 5 money line for me.
Lindy, you're with us.
I like the under. I'm going to be going to the under in this one. Jake Irvin, everything you guys said about him is great. Let's talk about trade deadline and Frankie Montas and what can they do with him? What can Milwaukee do? What do they see in him as an acquisition piece? And I kept trying to figure it out. And I look at some of the usage, like the pitch usage that he's had this season, 4-seam fastball, but then the split finger specifically. Sometimes you find a team that just knows how to utilize you a little bit better, whether it's a catching rapport, whether it's, hey, you need to throw this pitch less. Like, let's eliminate this cutter that is just getting absolutely obliterated every single time out. Every time you see cutter come up on the screen, the ball goes a million miles against Frankie Montas. 388 batting average against it, 694 slugging, one of the worst pitches in baseball. If you can figure out a way around that pitch and you can get to some of these other primary pitches, I'm always enlightened to see like, oh, why did this team trade for this guy? And I think it's just going to be him peppering fastballs and split fingers. And I think if we do that in this spot against a much worse Nationals lineup, I know that, against a righty, Lane Thomas wouldn't be that big of a deal. He's basically a platoon guy in my eyes, but CJ Abrams, Juan Yepez, James Wood, major league hitters, it gets so sketchy. Travis Blankenhorn, Idomar Vargas, Jacob Young. I mean, these are just not major league players here. It is favorable hitting conditions, freaks me out a little bit, but 9, I'm getting a pretty good number, I think, on the under.
And to play into all 3 of our bets, in the last 30 days, Milwaukee has a bottom 5 lineup in baseball, 26th in WRC+. That's against right-handed pitching. So the Brewers aren't really hitting. Like I said, moving forward, we all know the Brewers lineup is better than the Nationals lineup. They're going to be a better offensive team the second half or the second chunk of this season than Nationals. No question. But based on the production we've seen the last 30 days, Milwaukee's offense has been pretty shit. So that kind of plays into all 3 of our bets here.
Yeah, and Kyle Finnegan's had a tough run of it. He's going to be better than this. I've got him as like the 13th best closer in 13th best relief pitcher in baseball, 5th best closer. He's been awful here lately, but he hasn't pitched a lot. They haven't been up in a lot of games. He hasn't pitched for 3 days. Both these teams coming off the Thursdays off, full bullpen usage. That always makes me feel better about unders.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Prop Beaver, let's skate on over to the next game. Prop Beaver's got his mind on the Cleveland Browns. We went through it. Prop Beaver's got some good notes for the Browns.
Rome Ford season.
Yeah. All right, Blue Jays, Yankees, and Prop Beaver, before you even get the poll up, load me up with the Yankees. My biggest bet of the day, it's not sharp at all. I got Yankees money line and Yankees -1.5. I got -162 and laid the -1.5. I don't care if it's not a sharp look. The way the Yankees are replaying, I'm not stepping in front of it at all. Kevin Gausman on the road has been awesome. He's definitely, if you're going to bet Gausman, you better do it on the road. But look, I don't like how Marcus Stroman has pitched against Toronto like 150 times either. But still, the Yankees are going to put up a big number. It would be I went Yankees. I'm not mad at the Yankees team total over as well. Take it to look. Gausman on the road's probably got the starting pitching advantage over Stroman, but with the Yankees lineup included, I still think they'll be up after 5 innings. But even if they're not, the late innings, there's no question the Yankees have such an advantage over that garbage Toronto Blue Jays bullpen. So it's Yankees all the way for me. The way that they've been playing it, they're going to have to show me that they're capable of losing a game right now.
Lindy?
Kevin Gausman's had a really favorable away schedule this season. I've got it pretty weighted towards extremely favorable. San Francisco and Seattle on the road, his last two. Great pitchers, ballparks. Oakland on the road before they went completely nuclear, beginning of June. White Sox, Detroit, Washington on the road. I mean, we're talking about the last 7 starts for him have been as good as it gets. That ends today. That is not going to go well here. I'm going to be betting the Yankees here on the run line. I haven't clicked it here yet, but I'm going to be going just straight out to the run line. I hate the numbers that we got here on Juan Soto props. I thought for sure, based on the last couple of days, that I would end up getting better than like +120, +125 there. I think best number I saw was +110 on Juan Soto total bases today. So I'm actually sadly going to be staying away from it, but I will be on the Yankees here because Kevin Gausman, I think those home road splits are a little bit figmented.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I remember me and Toast were talking about that a couple weeks back. That's definitely a fair point about Gausman on the road. Let me guess. Actually, Toast, I already know that you took a Vlad prop because I saw you shared it in the Discord.
Blue Jays first 5 money line, Vlad over 1.5 total bases for me. Yeah, I just don't love the spot for Detroit. For the Yankees, who came off, a series against the Rays, a series against the Mets, a series against the Red Sox, a series against the Phillies, and now they come home. I get there on a day's rest, but this Toronto team has been putting up runs since the All-Star break. They had one bad Tuesday in Baltimore. Besides that, they've been putting up 4 or 5 runs every single night. This is going to be the 4th time they've seen Marcus Stroman. I honestly believe that this is more of a coin flip in the first 5 than anything. So I got Toronto at +120 in the first 5. I want nothing to do with that bullpen. If Kevin Gausman gets lit up and everybody gets paid for the Yankees, so be it. But I'll take my chances in the first 5.
I mean, if you are betting Toronto, I would advise doing it in the first 5.
I got 6 cents of closing line value. How can you beat that?
Can't beat it. Jabo's in the comments too. We'll be talking to him about the Browns. He likes the Yankees team total over 4.5. So he's with me and Lindy.
I think you'd have a better off of finding a person who didn't like the Yankees -1.5.
You might be the only one.
Yeah.
Next up.
I was the only one that didn't play Kansas City last night, and I looked like an idiot. So
it's okay. You're special.
I just couldn't do it.
I get it.
Giants Reds. So when I looked at this game, I thought the value. See, this is one of the ones I wasn't going to place until one of these fine gentlemen on the panel here informed me on what the weather is in Great American Ballpark, because I think this is an under. The Reds haven't gotten to lefties, and even though I don't trust Kyle Harrison, the Reds haven't been hitting lefties. Oh, it's Snell. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm reading the graphic. Okay, so Go ahead. I last night when I looked at this game, it was under or pass. Haven't looked at it today. So
go ahead, Lindy.
Oh, just get me away from anything that isn't San Francisco money line here at this point in time. Haven't bet this one either, but I think I'm going to. I have a lot of teams I'm just saying, I have a lot of teams that I want to back. I got to be a little bit more.
No, it's okay. I'm just on the opposite of everything that you say. That's why I laugh.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. It's that's understandable to some extent here. Blake Snell. Oh, never mind. Look at this price. No, never mind. I'm just not going to play this at all. So that's.
I was going to say, real.
I'm not touching this. Blake Snell's been freaking nails for what it's worth. I mean, he came back and 15 strikeouts against Colorado. That made us look pretty good the other night, Toast. So I felt pretty good about Blake Snell backing him in pretty much every single regard against, the Dodgers. That was a close one, but then got through on the run line there against Colorado. Blake Snell's been awesome, but this is a big price to be laying. And Andrew Abbott, he's a pitcher that he's just solid. 3.39 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. You look at what he's able to do at home here. It's a difficult pitching ballpark, of course, but 3.54 ERA at home as well. He just is efficient. He gets things done. He's not flashy like Nick Lodolo's curveball, but Andrew Abbott, another southpaw that I really like for Cincinnati. So I'll stay away from this one.
Why is this total at 9? If Snell's, this was at 9 last night with Harrison. Right? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah,
I mean,
I would lean under as well. I don't.
The Reds
play
haven't
under
been hitting
Harrison.
lefties. Neither have the Giants. The Giants are cooled off against lefties. Abbott, like Lindy said, has been solid. Why is this number 9?
That's a good question.
It's
Unless there's like 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out at Great American. I don't know why this number would be.
Not. It's
like 5.
It's not the wind. It's the heat and the pressure, high pressure index that's going to make the ball fly.
It's the heat
I'm
and the
just
high
curious.
pressure index.
You're getting Canna in that lineup today.
Dude, there's over 75. There's
What?
over 75% humidity. That ball carries in humidity.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
science.
Yeah,
Oh.
dew point 2. Yeah.
It's probably it's the heat pressure index.
Yo,
Let's go.
Lindy, am I crazy here or what?
Well, I'm a weather whore, so
Okay, so am I. They make fun of
find
me.
a better
but I'm like, yo,
way of
there's
phrasing
pressure
that, but
means the
that's
ball
what I
flies.
am.
Like,
The high pressure index.
I
for
get
sure.
moist in humidity. It's a thing that happens.
yeah. Just
All
for the
right.
record, we're gonna have humidity in Cincinnati, Progressive Field, Washington. Yeah, lots of humidity today. Ball be flying. Reds money line for me.
Sorry, it's a family show.
Oh, Reds money line.
Yeah, for me. I understand that Blake Snell's been very good. All those starts are at home. I want to see him do it on the road. I don't trust this Giants team on the road. At home, they're very good. Against lefties, they're very good. They're essentially a top 10 team versus left-handed pitching the full season, the last 14 days as well. But on the road, they drop down to a bottom third offense. The only thing that really scares me is the Andrew Abbott splits versus righties. Much worse against righty bats. I think San Francisco is going to have 8 righty bats in the lineup here today. I just feel like Cincinnati at home on Friday, they're starting to pick up better. Reds at home the last 14 days, top 10 offense. Last 30 days, a top 7 offense at home. I'll take my chances with Blake Snell on the road in that Giants bullpen that is suspect to say the least. I will say to keep an eye on this Giants bullpen now that Jordan Hicks is there as a middle reliever. Maybe that helps them out just a little bit because you have Caden the GOAT Birdsong now as your starter and kicked his ass to the curb. But regardless, I think Friday night in Cincinnati, yeah, I'm on the Reds.
Swirls. It swirls.
Swirling
It
winds.
does swirl.
Swirling.
No wins, just humidity today.
Yeah,
No,
a high heat index, he said.
High heat index. That's the new one. My
If
God.
you want, it's actually humidity and barometric pressure. That's the two things
Barometric
that's in
pressure.
Cincinnati today.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Barometric pressure, right.
Mhm.
Next game. right. Barometric pressure.
I'm not making that up.
Yeah, good. It's good. I like it.
Baltimore, another price that scared the shit out of me. Yes, I know Cleveland at home is tough to fade, and yes, I know Dean Kramer is downright terrifying. But you remember this streak we've been talking about, how Cleveland hasn't been hitting righty starters? That hasn't ended. They haven't gotten to any righty starters, so it would only be Baltimore. I didn't bet this one because this price is freaking me out. I guess people are just down on Baltimore right now, and it's Cleveland at home. Maybe I can make a little sense of it. It would only be Baltimore for me here. I might even be down to be talked into this one. I'm going to pull it up while you guys are talking. I'm pulling up Cleveland against righty starters. It's actually crazy.
All the money came in on the Cleveland side purely because as soon as that game ended, they didn't utilize their main 3 out of the pen. Anytime you have the main 3, I mean, they have the best setup and they have the best closer in Emmanuel Clase. I mean, it's Barlow, Gaddis, Clase. Every time you get to have Saran wrap on those 3, and you get to carry them over to the next day, it's going to look better than what it looked pre-flop. Like it opened, let me find the exact number as I was tracking this, because it was when I was paying attention to, and then I couldn't take advantage of it, but Baltimore opened at -124, dropped to like -112 at FanDuel. Cleveland was +114. Now you can't see anything without a minus sign in front of it, so it's going to just be a pass for me, unfortunately, but I'm definitely going to be leaning the Baltimore side at the new price.
Hold on. Since I'm going to say
I'm on Cleveland, just so you guys know. Cleveland money line for me. Yeah, you talk about Cleveland versus righty starters. Who they face? Jack Flaherty, Michael King, Dylan Cease, Matt Waldron, Ryan Pepe Le Pew, Zach Littell, Taj Bradley. I mean, pretty damn good righty starters the last, 7 that they've faced. I'm sorry, but Dean Kramer just does not fit that bill for me. I understand that Carlos Carrasco is terrible, but at the same time, I only need him to go 4, maybe 5 innings, maybe 2-3 run baseball, and I still think that we have a huge advantage late in this ball game. So yeah, it's Cleveland all the way for me. It's like I really like Cleveland a lot, actually.
The last time Cleveland scored more than 3 runs against a starting right-handed pitcher, June 26th.
Right.
A month and a half ago.
Carlos Carrasco back-to-back 6 balls against Detroit and Philly. You are a braver man than myself. Saying that you love that when it's Carlos Carrasco on the mound. I cheer for this guy all the time. I mean,
I watched Carlos Carrasco take a flight up to Baltimore earlier in the year and essentially pitched pretty damn well. So yeah, I think they're going to be all right. Not to mention, what is Baltimore playing for at this point? I mean, honestly, they're 5-5 their last 10. They're 8-12 their last 20. They're 15-15 their last 30. Baltimore hasn't been playing 500 baseball in a month and a half, but yet we all want to go party with Baltimore. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Paul Sewell removed from closer role.
Huge news.
About time. Jesus Christ, Corey Lavello.
I mean, what's Cleveland's record in the last 30, Toast?
15-15.
That's the same shit.
But they're 7-3 their last 10. So I mean that helps.
The same shit. All right.
7-3 their last 10 and they're 2-10 their last 20. So the last...
Can we go to the next game, or do you guys want to talk about the barometric pressure?
No, I'd like to talk about Paul Sewell being removed from the closer role. 2 days too late, fuckers.
Yeah, someone actually just put it in the comments. Paul Sewell removed from closer role. All right. Miami, Atlanta. Toast, good call. Toast is Toast had Braves -1.5 yesterday, and our poll was almost 50-50 in that. I think the Marlins were a public dog yesterday. I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't place any MLB bets yesterday. Didn't really take a deep look at things, but I did notice that there were a lot of people in the comments yesterday playing the Marlins. Toast is America's newly found Braves fan. He's a Braves guy. He's a Braves guy's guy.
Whisperer. I don't know what that means, but that's just me.
So do you like Schvelli?
It's Braves or pass. I'm not. Don't feel like. What is it? -130 for a -1.5 or something like that. It's just kind of priced out for me. I don't think there's a chance in hell Miami wins this game, but Atlanta only scored 4 yesterday. Again, it's just not really something that I want to deal with at that price. So there's not a chance in hell I get to Miami though.
Oh, -115 now.
Okay.
On the
That's
run line.
even more scary. So
yeah, you got to join me on that. Atlanta on the run line. This is just as straightforward as it gets. Sweaty Balls has been really, really good this season. Schwellenbeck, 286 xWOBA, limits barrels, and then I can't believe what I look at when I see this Miami Marlins lineup rolled out every day. I mean, it is just like the forest from the trees, but no, it's Forrest Wall and Nick Fortes and Otto Lopez and Kyle Stowers and Jonah Bride.
Jonah Bride, yeah, killing it.
Oh, stop it, Jonah Bride. I mean, if you can't cut it in Oakland and figure your life out, I don't really know what to tell you. So they traded away Jazz Chisholm, immediately smashing. Traded away Brian De La Cruz. We'll see how that. It was Brian De La Cruz. Ended up getting shipped off to Pittsburgh. This lineup is a shell of the former shell that it already was.
So Braves -1.5 for pass for these guys.
Yeah.
I guess I would probably just side with it. You don't even have to put a graphic up or anything. Let's just go to the next one.
Just bet it.
Any comments on the barometric pressure? Or let's just go.
No.
Here we go. Boston.
No.
In what world, Toast? In what world?
Boston, I have no idea.
The Red Sox have been the better team. The Red Sox have the better starting pitcher by a long shot. In what world? I got this at -120. It moved against me. I don't even understand.
That's why I didn't bet it.
maybe I'm just not seeing the market clearly. What am I doing here? I'm on the Red Sox. I got it at -120 thinking it was I thought it was sketchy at -120. It moved down. I don't freaking know. The Red Sox have been crushing righty starters. Yes, I realize there's 1 or 2 recently where they weren't able to get it going, but as a whole, they've been the best lineup against right-handed pitching in baseball over the last month and a half. So with Cutter Crawford against Jose Urena, I guess you could say the Rangers bullpen has been better because the Red Sox bullpen has been a bit of a disaster, but I don't know. I bet the Red Sox, but I'm not even going to sit here and be like, you guys should bet it because I don't get the price. Maybe I'm the squarest dude alive.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I'll just go really quickly because I feel the same way. I mean, look at this. I mean, even if you want to make a case like Boston versus righty starters, look at who they face: Kirby, Castillo, Gilbert, Stroman, Cal Quantrill, Gavin Stone. I mean, they're facing decent arms as well. And then you go on to the Texas side. Who have they been facing as far as righties? Fat Lance, Andrew Palante, Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, Cannon, Flexen, Fetty. I mean, they're not even facing good arms. So, I mean, this price makes absolutely no sense to me. I was a little bit higher on Urena than many other people were coming into this year, and he's actually pitched pretty decent for me, but not against. This is not a spot that I'm looking to be. I mean, as far as the lines go, it's Texas or pass because clearly the books are not worried about any Boston money coming.
Yeah,
but it's Texas or pass just because I'm just reading the lines. But there's nothing on sheets or that I've written down that tells me that Texas would be the side.
You can now get Boston -109, -108. So it's still moving. I don't get it. Lindy, can you explain the line?
Yeah, a little bit. Urena, he had been one of the worst starters in baseball for the last couple of years. And then this year kind of revamped some stuff. He's done a good job in terms of expected numbers, under a 150 expected ISO to both sides at the plate. You look at his specific pitch mix. I mean, he's somebody that I think had arm talent and a lot of teams were intrigued to try to take shots on it. I think he's coming to fruition as like a mid-range, like a long reliever type role. But getting some of these starts, it does feel a little bit alarming to me. It's a decent enough pitcher's park that it's been playing this season, but everything you guys said is exactly it. I mean, Cutter Crawford's coming off of 2 annihilations back-to-back where he got completely drilled by the Dodgers and the Yankees. You know what? Who else gets drilled by the Yankees and the Dodgers? Absolutely everybody. So
can I say really one thing about the Yankees, too? That was the third time he had faced the Yankees in 3 starts.
And he pitched well against them the first 2.
Yep, he pitched great and then gave up 8 homers the last 2 games. I don't think that is something to be paying very much attention to. You had wind blowing out their Yankees. Dodgers, it was 92 degrees there at first pitch, or 88 degrees at first pitch, I think is what I had written down from that one. I just had notes from the previous game, and he's just the better pitcher overall over any sample size that you want to utilize other than 2024 where Urena has been kind of a longer reliever and then, had a couple of starts, but overall, I'm with you guys. I think I'll be leaning towards the Boston side. I'm probably not going to pull the trigger because I do feel like we're missing something here. I do think also Texas can go to a bullpen matchup style whenever they want to here in this one. And I think with Josh Young back in this lineup, Carson Kelly added to this lineup, it's not as bad as what it's been before. They're getting some tools back, but I'm very confused by it. Go ahead.
It's funny that you said that because I thought it was going to be because I was trying to put the game together and I was thinking it was going to be Urena followed by like Bradford /Latz /Schwarbs and then go from there. But it's just hard.
They can do a number of different things with that pen where they're
I'm not Bruce
so you have Robertson and Yates that haven't pitched in 3 freaking days. So I mean, it's
exactly. And I think you're going to have to see them sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. So they could play like full out bullpen and use them back-to-back days. You could fire it up. I think they have a day off on Monday or Tuesday.
I was just about to say that. And Urena is not a starter. So I think they're pretty confident using their bullpen up today with that day off coming. So,
yep, that's what always freaks me out about those spots.
All right, let's move on to the next game. I did bet this, Boston.
Here's another sketchy one. Oh, not this one.
No, I don't think this one was. This one made a little more sense. Keep in mind the Rays have been shipping off, the trade deadline, and I don't think this price was as sketchy. I didn't bet it, but the Rays have gotten to the last few lefty starters they've seen. The only thing I'm scared of, and Lindy was kind of talking about it before, is when we were talking about was somebody making their first? Oh, Montas on the Brewers. Maybe Kikuchi on Houston switches his pitch mix up. Maybe he gets some advice that helps him. Clearly, it seems that odds makers think Kikuchi's going to pitch well today. So I didn't bet this. It would be either Rays team total over, Rays money line or over. Just put over for me. Over. I almost bet this at 8, and now it's 7.5. So again, another one where I guess I'm not seeing it clearly. To me, Shane Baz, both his roads, he's made 4 starts. 2 of them have been good and 2 of them have been bad. Both bad starts were on the road. Both of his road starts have been shaky. Astros do seem to be cooling off a little bit offensively, but still, I think we can count on them to get at least a couple runs off Baz. The Rays have crushed the last few lefty starters they've seen. Kikuchi struggled all season, having like the worst season of his career. What is this doing at 7.5? So it'd be over past another game where I feel like I'm not seeing the market properly, honestly.
For me, it would be Rays first 5 team total over 1.5. It just kind of seems a little bit sketchy to me. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 4 times they've seen Kikuchi, they've hit this number. And I understand that some of those guys are gone, but you're going to have a guy in Dylan Carlson in the lineup now who isn't a lefty killer, but he does hit lefties a little bit better than he hits righties. Christopher Morel, it's kind of, he doesn't have any drastic splits, but he does have power. So this doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't understand this price at all. So it'd be Rays first 5 team total over 1.5 or a pass for me.
Maybe Lindy can shed some light on the price for us.
Nope. I'm going to go to Yusei Kikuchi under 6.5 strikeouts plus 110 over on DraftKings. Absolutely. Fuck this price. I just can't. This is just silliness.
Makes no sense.
Yusei Kikuchi, I feel like I've had a pretty good season, either backing him early on in the year and then betting against him as there were start to be some telltale signs. Everything I said, I can't just extrapolate and say, hey, Frankie Montas is going to pitch well and Yusei Kikuchi is going to pitch like shit and just pick my spots on who's going to help whom. Houston obviously has done very, very well with starters in the past when they could do sticky stuff, and Lance McCullers coming in there and added tons of RPMs to his curveball. Garrett Cole became God down in Houston with sticky stuff, but with that off the table, I don't see how 6.5 is your opening number and how I'm getting plus money on the under here up against Tampa. It's not the best of all strikeout matchups, but they didn't move Yandy Diaz at the deadline. And that is a guy who just at the top of this lineup doesn't strike out. 15.1% K rate on the year. Feels like always a solid base to know that if you face a guy like that 3 times, pretty good chance that he can get unscathed over the course of a game. Feel pretty good about backing this one overall. As I run the numbers on this, I would have this closer to minus 112. And so getting plus 110 on the under 6.5 strikeouts is actually probably my favorite play of the entire day.
Yeah? Kikuchi under?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like it. I'm with it.
Let's party.
Next game. I'm very surprised the Toast bet on this game. I thought you were going to... Prop Beaver almost called this before when we were getting the graphics ready. Prop Beaver goes, I can tell you exactly what Toast is going to say for the White Sox Twins game. And I think
that's my favorite part about hanging out with Toast is it's like, there's a part of me that already knows that like, oh, what's the most contrarian, ridiculous thing that can be said in this moment? Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, my friend.
This is Prop Beaver's. This was Prop Beaver's prediction for what Toast is going to say during this game.
This is Prop Beaver. We're ready to go.
This is Prop Beaver impersonating Toast. He goes, I understand that the White Sox have lost 17 straight games. I understand. But again, in what world are the Twins minus 325 favorites? And when he said that, I was like, dude, that is what he's going to say. That being
biggest
said,
favorite of the MLB season in the AL.
Yeah. But that being said, Prop Beaver was wrong because Toast actually has the Twins in a parlay. Go ahead, Toast.
I just don't see the Twins or the Padres losing. That's all. The White Sox are 10-44 on the road this year. So if the Twins lose this game, so be it. But I don't feel like I need to talk about it. They're minus 300. I mean, let's get rid of real.
Lindy, are you getting involved with some Twins minus 2.5?
Oh, I'm gonna bet every single lefty to homer, but specifically I'm gonna highlight Matt Wallner.
I was just about to say that.
Winds blowing out to right field at Target, going to Kirby Puckett Gate, number 34 out there. Again, my homeland. I love Kirby Puckett Gate. I love next to Target Field, Target Center. I can just feel the nostalgia. I feel the cold beer. I'm going to see 4 bombs head out to that right field corner tonight, and Matt Wallner is going to probably hit 1, maybe 2 of them. The guy is an absolute power monster, and I don't think he gets enough appreciation. I'm also going to bet Larnach. I'm going to wait for some of those numbers to really.
What about Brooks Lee?
475. Brooks Lee's all right, but I'm specifically looking at some of these lefties. You're going up against Davis Martin, who he's been doing a pretty good job in a very, very, very limited sample size of keeping the ball in the park. But it is extreme fly ball to lefties, 32 to like we're talking like unconscionable type levels of launch angle, 32.5 degrees. It's going to come down a little bit here, and it's going to even out. He's had all of 26 pitches against lefties in the big leagues, so there's nothing to really grasp out of that. But what I can throw out there is Matt Wallner has a 289 expected ISO against righties in 2024 here at the big league level. He got completely revamped, retooled at AAA, and I just think Matt Wallner is going to hit a lot of second half bombs. Plus 420 is a bad, horrible price that I guarantee you will be inside of plus 300 the rest of the way home if he does what I think he's capable of doing here, batting fifth for the Twins.
All seriousness, what do you think? I had Carlos Santana listed or circled. What are your thoughts on him?
Let me throw it in here. So Carlos Santana, I have kind of like lucid power metrics on him. He's also not a great ball in play guy against right-handed pitching for whatever reason. He's a little bit better flipped around to the right side there, but good launch angle, 18.5 degree launch angle, 286 plate appearances this season, only a 142 expected ISO. But I repeat, with the wind blowing out there, 88 degrees, That's
why I asked.
It is humid. It is blustery. And I think that you could probably bet every single lefty in this Twins lineup. I'm probably going to stay away from Buxton and Lewis purely because the prices they're just not correct. I don't think they're really, really short. But Willie Castro, much better against righties. Good to have him there. Trevor Larnach, Matt Wallner, Carlos Santana, Brooks Lee. I'm going to take a look at this. I don't actually know what his exact splits are because I feel like he's better against lefties just off the top of my head.
That's why I asked.
68 plate appearances, 231 BABIP, only 2 homers against righties. But if there were a day to do it, this would be the day for my boy Brooks Lee to do it.
All right. So my thoughts on White Sox Twins. I understand that the White Sox have lost 17 straight. But minus 310, I mean, Grimace just made the Twins look silly. Not intimidated by this team in the slightest.
Don't you do it.
Do it.
Oh, my God.
I want to. Don't we have a theory whenever there's a minus 300 favorite in baseball, fade it and you'll be profitable in the year? Haven't we discussed that theory?
Yeah, I literally proved that theory correct in like 2022 when I just bet the Washington Nationals at the absolute bottom on the plus 2.5 run line like every day. I hate it here. Why are you doing this to me?
Gavin Sheets, 2 home runs.
Oh, Jesus, dear Lord.
No, if I was to bet this game, I would bet the White Sox, but more just like playing the crazy number. By no means am I going to sit here and be like, guys, I like this for the Sox. No, the White Sox are passed because the number is crazy. That's all.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting in on Larnach.
What about Sheets?
Everybody. Sheets.
Everybody is?
No, I'm not. So the one problem, like the thing that freaks me out every single time, I will say this, is I hate the Minnesota Twins staff because they just drive me insane. Pablo Lopez is so good, and yet he's the unluckiest of all the dudes. I know that you absolutely despise him, but I despise Joe Ryan because Joe Ryan is not nearly as good. It's kind of the same way that I felt about Jose Barrios when he was there forever, where there are just such obvious warts, and he has such problems with lefties that, I mean, it's just the launch angle, everything here. I don't completely hate the idea of Gavin Sheets there, but Gavin Sheets is terrible in terms of expected power, 136. This is not a cleanup hitter. Andrew Vaughn is the guy that's popping the most for me from the White Sox. I'm not going to bet that one, though. 209 expected ISO against righties. Decent ball profile up against Joe Ryan's pitch mix. I think it's going to... I hate everything about the fact that you just put White Sox on that screen. It hurts my feelings so much. I'm supposed to be the best.
Someone on this panel has to have a backbone.
Wow.
And I'm happy to be the one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Right.
Can we talk about a real ball club? Let's talk Grimace.
Yes, let's do it.
Would love to back the Mets here with Blackburn making his first start with his new team. There's a couple things that are holding me off. Obviously, the only way I would go is Mets here, but a couple things holding me off. One, how healthy is Blackburn? If he's only made one start back from injury, right? So like how deep into the game is he going to go? Number two, he happens to be pitching against a team he's pitched against a million times, like how bad the Mets never play AL West teams, and he happens to be starting his debuting with the Mets against an AL West team. It's like so unlucky.
A team that he literally just pitched against his last start as well.
Exactly. It
unreal.
Sucks. So it won't be the Mets here, but by no means am I saying take the Angels. It'll be Mets or pass, but it's definitely a pass. I'm down to get behind playing the Mets with Blackburn on the mound, but I'll talk to you in 6 days about that. So Mets or pass, Prop Eber.
Yeah, it's Angels or pass for me. Pure looking at the line, that line hasn't moved. At all. So there's no way I bet the Mets here. I just can't do it. Yeah. Not to mention the fact the last 2 times that Blackburn's went into LA, he's looked terrible. He's been terrible on the road this season. I will give you last 4 road starts: Angels, Mariners, Baltimore, Yankees. I mean, that's a tough go at it, but still, he's been absolutely throttled. And Tyler Anderson, decent numbers against the Mets lineup, decent numbers overall in the year. Again, whatever he's doing, he continues to do it because he continues to go out there and give you 5 or 6 innings of essentially 2-run baseball more times than not. So it's Angels or pass just on the price alone.
Lindy, it sounded like the way you were going like this, you agree with those.
No, Mets are pass for me, but I'm not going to bet it at all in any way, shape, or form. Paul Blackburn, it's such a weird deal having to come in. Also, I just want you to blindly guess how old Paul Blackburn is.
31.
Oh, that's a really good guess.
Is he 31?
He's 30. I'm just saying. I thought he was like 38 years old when I've watched him pitch. I don't know why.
Didn't he come up when he was like pretty young when he first?
Yeah, 2012. Yeah. He's been around forever. Now he's only pitched in the bigs, I guess. Well, yeah. 2012 is when he got drafted by the Cubs forever and ever ago. But a 4.69 expected ERA this season, taking on a team that he's obviously had a ton of familiarity with and a team that has a ton of familiarity against him. I can't really do it. I want to. I feel like the Mets are undervalued here at -135 if you just look at the last 30 days for either of these ball clubs. But at the same time, it's just when a starting pitcher is going to eat up 5-6 innings and there's as much history is what they have between the two of them there. Definitely going to be staying away from this.
Yeah, same. Next game, please, Prop Beaver. Rockies, Padres, toast. You have that parlay. Tell us why you think the Padres are going to win.
I actually have the Padres -1.5. I bet it last night. It was one of the first bets I made. First of all, I think that we're getting Randy Vasquez off of one of his worst performances of the year. He's been much, much better at home. And I also think that they just pulled him because I just think they just didn't want to waste the arm in that series against Baltimore. I mean, he went 2 innings. There was no reason for him to get pulled. He wasn't pitching well, but there was no reason for him to be pulled. And then you're facing Austin Gomber, who's been an absolute shell of himself. He looked decent at the beginning of the year and has decent numbers against the Padres, but this is going to be the 3rd time the Padres see him. Not to mention the fact that Colorado had to play extra innings last night. And Vondick and Kinley, both of their closers went back-to-back nights, and we already know the Padres have the best bullpen in baseball right now. So it's Padres -1.5. I got it at like +126 last night. 1 second, son. +126 last night. I don't think them or Minnesota loses.
I'm going to be going towards Ryan McMahon pretty much across the board. This is just like something I brought up on this show, I think 100,000 times now at this point. Petco is number 1 in baseball in home runs above expectation. What's up, little man? How you doing? Ryan McMahon, though, out there in Petco. Randy Vasquez is terrible, horrible, no good, very bad at pitching. There's also Toglia, who's got a 277 expected ISO against righties here. I think that might be an interesting one. But, I mean, Randy Vasquez, I just see so much power potential going up against him here in Petco. I don't know why the ballpark is the way that it is. I don't know if it's the ball, if something changed, what's going on, but ball's flying out of San Diego this season. And so you got to take advantage when you get some decent numbers. So Ryan McMahon to go yard. I've got him for 2 bases. I've got him for a number of different looks.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much as I would like to fade the ridiculousness of the Padres have the best bullpen in baseball now. He's right. This is probably not a Rocky spot. So I would kind of lean towards Rockies team total under, though, if I was going to just fading the Rockies bats, but I won't be betting it.
Yeah, McMahon +550 home run. What are we doing here? How?
Someone call him Randy Vasquez.
I see what you did there. Silly.
This
silly.
is an awesome game that I would love to bet, but I looked at it for about 15 minutes last night. I couldn't get to either side. I kind of wanted to play Seattle, if I'm being honest.
Hell yeah. Bet that shit. Run it up.
Toast, you're a Seattle homer.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, let's let Lindy go first.
Okay,
An
I'll try.
unobjective view.
Please.
Oh my God. I lean towards the under of 7.5 here.
No, you have to pick a side.
I have to pick a side. Oh,
Under your head.
Under your head.
This is an awfully good cheeseburger. Nobody's gonna get that one, but it's fine.
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Seattle.
He said
Okay.
under.
Explain
But
your
I-
under. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have a play on it, so you guys go ahead. I just you put a gun to my head. It was very scary.
It was a serious situation. So I mean, look at it's as simple as this. Look at the Phillies' offensive numbers recently, and I mean, last 30 days, 24th in WRC plus on the road, 25th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching, 23rd in WRC plus overall. I mean, this is a bottom 10 lineup in every single split across the board in the last 30 days. And I mean, we're seeing the Phillies get blanked by pitchers that really shouldn't be blanking the Phillies. I mean, not that Woods Richardson is bad. But
Quinn Priester.
Yeah, Priester. Well, yeah.
Son of a priest, man.
Woods Richardson, 6 shutout innings, just 4 base runners. Woods Richardson looked like a Cy Young Award winner against the Phillies. Ben Lively, who's having a great season, but Ben Lively blanked the Phillies. So the Phillies bats have just gone cold, and plain and simple, if the Phillies bats have gone cold, there's no reason to even think about taking them on the road in Seattle. For some reason, no one could ever score runs in this ballpark this year. Seattle will be like 27th at WRC plus offensively at home in the last 30 days, still somehow be like 15-8 in those games. It's just like Seattle's fucking weird as hell. Though they just keep winning games 2-1, 2-1, 3-0. So if Phillies bats are gone cold, I have no reason to try to take him at this price. I don't know what's going on with Brian Wu, though. Toast could probably shed some more light on that. Brian Wu looked really bad in his last start, right?
Yeah, he had a little bit of hamstring. Well, he didn't look bad. He got pulled early because of a hamstring.
Did he look bad 2 starts ago, was it?
3 starts.
3 starts ago. So there's one where I know Brian Wu got rocked.
Yeah, he got rocked by the Angels. 9 hits, 4 runs.
That's the game.
3 1/3.
That's the game.
Yeah,
Yep.
So, for me, we have the Mariners at home, which is usually a bet on type of situation. 31-23 at home this year compared to a 26-30 mark on the road. And then we're getting a Phillies team that Kyle just illustrated hasn't been producing really at all, especially against right-handed pitching. And you have Tyler Phillips pitching for them, who's coming off a 9-inning performance at home against Cleveland, where he looked absolutely fantastic. He hasn't given up a run in 15 starts. I just feel like that dam's going to break sooner or later. If Wu can give me 5-6 innings max, 6 might be a little bit of a stretch for him, just because he hasn't went over that number in I think 5 or 6 of his last starts. So I don't know how stretched out he really is, regardless of the hamstring or not. But even if he goes 5, I can see them going to Voth for 1 inning, Saucedo for 1 inning, and then Santos, Garcia, Munoz. I just think that the pitching advantage for Seattle is huge. The offense is absolutely terrible, but it pains me to say this, but Bryce Harper couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag right now. So, and if that's the case for me, that's another huge bet out of that Phillies lineup. So, yeah, I bet Seattle. I almost have like a full unit on it.
Yeah, I don't know how he got in a wet paper bag, but there.
Yeah, that's
is.
what I was saying. That's a weird metaphor, but like it made sense, I guess. The Mariners bats are terrible. They have better offensive numbers than the Phillies in the last 30 days. It's actually like not even really close. Mariners bats have shown signs of life since the trade deadline. And like Toe said, I didn't mention it before. It's crazy to say this because the Phillies bullpen was so good. And you know what? Maybe now that Estevez is part of that unit, they'll probably be better moving forward. But we're talking about in the last 30 days, this is one of the worst bullpens in baseball. I don't trust Hoffman right now. I don't trust any of the arms in that bullpen. I don't really trust Alvarado right now. Kirkring. I don't trust these guys right now.
And the only thing I will say about Estevez is that the Mariners know him extremely well. He's played in the division the last couple of years. So that's another thing where it's like, okay. So
yeah, it would. You know what? I might be talking myself into the Seattle bet here.
Yeah, I just want to throw out that I wasn't aware that Bryce Harper had a 149, 240, 358 slash mark in July.
You do?
That is just.
I'm telling you, it's terrible.
149 and then slugging 358 is not great, Bob. Not great.
Dude, I wrote him a message on Instagram. I said, you got to pick it up. I'm coming to see you next week, bro. What the hell's going on?
No, you
Get
didn't.
fucked, Toast.
Yes, I did.
That's what he said back.
Toast sent Bryce Harper an Instagram DM and said, you got to pick it up, bro. All right.
I was very positive. I didn't want to. I didn't want it to be negative.
No, I know that you're not the type of person that would ever like curse someone out. I know that.
No,
but like, still, imagine getting that DM. Like, yeah, buddy. I'll try.
And then he's gonna see me at the first baseline with the Dodgers with a sign.
He
that
probably
says,
thinks
"My
you have
son
special
was
Grown
needs,
here."
man with bread in his handle. I'm not sure.
He probably thinks he has
There's
special
bread.
needs or something. All right, next.
I would
next
be down
game.
to make a wish with Bryce Harper if that's the case.
I'd be down to make a wish.
I'll be the make a wish guy.
You need to
Whatever.
make a wish
No.
kit.
We know what you meant. We know what you meant. Equally as disturbing. Well, just hang out with him for the day.
Yeah. Why not?
Go to the batting cages with Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Dodgers.
That's the
Oakland.
next Sports Center. My wish. Just Toast running out on the field with Bryce Harper in a jersey, a signed jersey, holding his sneakers.
Oh
Someone
yeah.
goes, Bryce Harper's. Someone in the comments. Bryce Harper's going to get a court order against Toast. All right. Oh shit. Someone said y'all are acting like players don't go through slumps. Yeah, no one's acting like that. You shouldn't
We're
bet
just
them.
saying that
You
just-
shouldn't bet them when they're in a slump. Right?
Yeah. Like,
I think we can all agree with that. All right. So, Dodgers, Oakland. Come on, bro. You got to pick it up, Bryce. Big fan.
Bryce, I'm mad at you, Bryce. Bryce, you
coming
gotta
to
try
see ya.
harder, man.
Can't wait to see you. All right. Toast,
You're my
taking
favorite
over-
player. Sign your favorite fan, Stan.
Toast, Oakland.
yes. No question.
I knew he was doing that. I didn't bet Oakland. I knew he was betting Oakland.
I haven't bet them yet. I was waiting to see what this line is, but I think I missed the number. But how does this number make sense at all? I mean, everybody seems to be betting the Dodgers. The number keeps on coming down. I mean, Joey Estes, to give him credit, he had one bad start in Baltimore and one bad start on the road in Minnesota. And besides that, he came back against Minnesota at home and pitched really well against them. He pitched really well against the Angels. He went 9 innings, didn't give up a run at home against them. Obviously, he faced the Angels again in his last home start, went 5 2/3. I feel like Joey Estes is pitching just fine. And this Dodgers lineup, without Freddie Freeman again, I just think it's a very, very weak lineup. And honestly, Gavin Stone is not a guy that I'm in a position where I want to back right now. 3 of his last 4 starts have been absolutely terrible at home or on the road. The 1 good start he had, the 2 good starts he had were against the White Sox and Colorado. And then it's just, I'm not on a point where I can lay juice with this Dodgers team. Not to mention the Dodgers bullpen has been absolutely terrible lately. I don't trust them at all. I understand that Oakland isn't better, but this price, I think, tells me everything. Honestly, when I say Blake Trinan and Evan Phillips you cannot be trusted. And that's your closers by committee type of situation. Kopech looked really, really good for them against whoever they played last. The Padres. He looked really good in his 1 inning against the Padres. That's still not enough for me. That Dodgers bullpen is absolutely terrible. So Oakland for me.
Yeah, you know what? If it wasn't for the other night, I had Oakland team total over 3.5 at plus 120. I really needed it. I was having a bad day, and that offense just couldn't touch Logan Webb. And it's got me a little hesitant here because it's not like it would be crazy. It's not like it's a wild idea that Oakland's bats would cool off again. In fact, I think we all kind of expect them to at some point. So if that's happening now, do I really want to take 2 losses riding that ship to the bottom of the Atlantic, or I should say Pacific, because it's Oakland? I think based on this price and based on recent production that Oakland would be the only way to go here. I think Toast is right in that. It's just, if this is the turning of the tide and Oakland's going to go back to being shit, why do I want to take back-to-back L's riding that ship down? So it'll only be Oakland here, but I don't think I actually... If I didn't just get smoked by that team total over, I really needed that bet, man. I was having a rough day. I was 0-2. I needed that team total over, and they just didn't touch bum-ass Logan Webb. So I'm a little down on Oakland right now, but at this price, it would only be Oakland.
Yeah, it's a right off for me. I mean, they were functioning at just such a ridiculous level. I don't think anybody expects them to just do what they've been doing over their last 30 days. Oakland has a 126 WRC plus against righties, 5th best mark in baseball, number 1 in overall WRC plus in the month of July. Absurd streak of hitting for Oakland. Brent Rooker is a god. Nobody can tell me otherwise. They have a number of other guys who are coming along for the ride. This Lawrence Butler character is on another stratosphere, but Logan Webb, he's always been sneaky with the ground ball rate, sneaky as far as like, you know, there's always this spiked upside where he just feels like he has a feel for certain pitches in a different way from a day-to-day basis. He's just running hot and cold. He's like Jamal Crawford off the bench sometimes, but I feel like this is just an obvious over 8.5. This is probably like the most straightforward play, I think, on the day. I think both teams can get after this one a little bit. Joey Estes on the other side of this one, he's not really anything special to me. Nearly a 5 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Is just running into a little bit of a walk issue slightly. Only 39 pitches last time against the Angels. This could end up looking like a bullpen situation. This is also obviously a very watered down LA lineup here without Freddie Freeman. But at the same token, Oakland's been doing enough damage here. It's decent enough here in terms of like a game environment. 70 degrees in Oakland isn't anything crazy, 72% humidity, but I think enough happens here. Same thing you talked about with Kopech. I'm not really sold on him just being revamped. Gavin Stone's been running into tough times. I think both teams here get after it. I really like this over.
Yeah, probably he took the over. So yeah, I like that over. But you remember, you guys heard what I just said about how Oakland team total over 3.5 smoked me. Well, actually, let me tell you the rest of how that night went. So I started off 0-2. I had 2 bets late, and they were both plus money. And I was like, you know what? All I got to do is grab these 2 bets, and I actually had a green day because they were both plus money. One was Oakland team total over 3.5, loss. Want to know what the other one was? Dodgers team total over 3.5, which also lost, capping off.
Regression towards the mean, my friend. Regression towards the mean. Hopefully.
These are the 2 teams that smoked me. These are the 2 teams that sparked yesterday's day off from baseball betting. These are the games right here. I needed them both to score runs, and neither of these bags of shit scored. So I do like that over. What you're saying makes sense. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to watch this game. Not going to have any action on it. That's for damn sure. All right. Let's do a community parlay real quick. Hit him with the song.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community. We community, making a parlay. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Probably, yeah. It's his vote. Lindsay just told, because for those of you that don't know, we don't hear the song. The producer plays it. We just see the graphics. We actually don't hear it. So Lindy goes, I've actually never heard the song. And it's Prop Beaver's vocals. He sings.
Can you sing it from where you are, Prop Beaver? Are you in house over there?
He doesn't have his mic set up.
I want to be informed.
Yeah, you got to click on the link and watch it right when we're done.
Shit. Okay.
Anyway, community parlay. You ready, Prop Beaver?
I wanted it live so bad.
Yeah, he also sung the Dong song for home run props. We have a dong, like if you give a home run bet out, we usually play it. We always forget, but Prop Beaver sung that one as well. All right.
Fantastic.
Diamondbacks money line. Royals money line, definitely. They like that one with us. Brewers Nationals. What were they on there? Montas against Jake Irvin. Me and Toast like Nats. Lindy had the under. I think they might have liked the Nationals. Put the Nationals up there. By the way, Toast, Nats is almost at a pick 'em now. So finally a game where like the line movement's in our favor.
Yeah.
Yankees money line, definitely.
Last night I was worried too because like it was moving up and down and I didn't know which way it was going to go. So when I woke up this morning, it was nice to see that.
People talk about the community parlay song. They're like, I wish I didn't have to hear it either.
Whatever I'm envisioning, I guarantee you it's better. There's no way it could be worse than what I'm envisioning. It's a community parlay. Community parlay.
That's kind of close, actually.
Oh, okay. That's
just guess it. You almost guessed the melody. It's
that's great. Close. Go me. That's fun.
All right.
Did you go to the same school as I did? The special school?
Yeah, Juilliard. For the community.
Yeah, that's the one.
Are the Royals really going to beat the Yankees in this vote? I thought everyone would be taking the Yankees. Wow. Okay. Oh, so it's Yankees, not Royals? Okay. The Yankees is the first leg. Next up will be Giants money line with Snell. They definitely voted Orioles too. So it's Giants money line, Orioles money line. The next up would be Braves money line and Red Sox money line on the sketchy price that I don't understand.
Got that over in Chicago and St. Louis. Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah, people in the comments were saying that the Cards just scraped a run across on some walks, and they were like, "Lindy, you got your over." I'm glad I didn't bet that one. I would have been pissed off already because I was leaning towards Cardinals.
I turned it off when it was like 4. So there were 6 runs, it was 5-1 after the third, and then it was like just getting blanked. Armstrong comes in, blanks them. It's like I had to turn it off before we jumped on.
I'm so mad.
Braves won. Okay. Next we got Rays or Astros. Astros money line. Twins money line definitely. Mets money line. Padres money line. And we only have 2 left after this, so grab 2 second place. Oh, while they're voting, Lindy, you want to tell them where they can find your stuff?
Yeah, jump over to oddshopper.com. We've got some really cool stuff that is in the works. It's going to be going live here very, very shortly. You can use promo code grandfather if you guys want to jump in, get 50% off a first week or first month. Becomes like what? Less than $8 for your first week to try out everything at OddShopper, including the tools, the Positive EV tool. You're basically scanning every single sports book or pick'em site, depending on what state you're in. You have an opportunity to fire up the best Positive EV plays relative to where sharp sports books have numbers set. It is a phenomenal product. You guys can check that out for super, super cheap as well. As jump in the Discord here as we start making some pivots. So very excited about the changes coming up next week. But oddshopper.com, that's where you can find me.
Cool. That's also his Twitter name right on the screen there if you want to give him a follow.
Thank you so much. And Kyle, this is fantastic per usual. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's fun. The live show is the best. We started almost like by accident too. Me toast and so first up, Mariners money line.
Lindy, are you going to be on the show on Monday?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We
I'm
used
like
to do
50-50. Yep. I can definitely be here Monday. So
2 years ago, we used to put out a VIP ticket as a team, and we would do a call, me, Toast, and Prop Paper, and we would go through the slate, and then we would put out like 3 picks that we all like a consensus like as a network, and then we were like, I think people would want to listen to these calls. Like these are kind of funny. Like that's how the live show started. Like I think people would want to listen to us go through the slate because this is like some funny shit. So yeah, that's how it started.
Well, it's fun to be able to carve out time. I mean, obviously, since jumping on, I've been able to check out a couple of the live ones. Obviously, not to the community parlay, or I would know that one. I need to hear this beautiful song. It's all I can think about. My God, but very much excited to talk some NFL here shortly too. Because what? It's August, baby. It's August.
Yeah, I got you down for the Vikings, and there was another team you said you wanted to talk about.
Falcons.
Too.
I want to talk the Falcons.
Yes.
Under 9.5 team total. Let's go.
Under 9.5. I thought that was a little suspiciously high.
It's a big number. Tampa Bay to win the division. Still got to.
Oh, that's right. Tampa Bay to win the division too.
I'm a big NFC South. Yeah, I'm shorting the Falcons as much as humanly possible.
Got it. All right. So the Beauty Parlay: Yankees, Braves, Twins, Royals. Can we get some odds, please? Someone shout it out. Shout out the odds.
Oh shit.
Don't be shy now.
Don't be shy. Yankees, Braves, Twins. Yankees, Twins, Braves, Royals. 4 parlay. 500.
Plus 500. Yankees, Braves, Twins, Royals plus 500. Community parlay. Gentlemen, enjoy your evening. It's time to talk some NFL football. Speaking of which, probably should send this link to Steve so he can join. It'll be tough for him to join if I don't send this to him. He's probably watching.
Good luck, Toast. We'll see you guys
later.
Have a good night, Lindy.
He's probably watching. Like, does this guy not want me to come on? Like, setting it now, Steve. If you're watching. All right, set. All right, it is time for the Cleveland Browns. Now, there's a folder in P Live Graphics that has all the Browns graphics, if you like. Okay, cool. We're talking Cleveland Browns football. Prop Beaver off the grid. Ooh. Oh, I should send it to Andy too, or did you already? Yeah. No, I have a 2 Andy graphic. I could just put in P for you. No, he's not coming out for the Browns. He's coming out for college. Steve, what's up, man? Yeah, I forgot to send you the link. No. We got you. All right. We're talking Cleveland Browns. So we'll just go ahead, start with the basics. Same coaching staff. Actually, no, there's a new you know what? Why don't I pull up my notes rather than just freestyle it? So what I think and what Prop Beaver has alluded me to, seems like the Browns are transitioning into a passing offense. What are your thoughts on that take, Steve, before we even get started?
Yeah, no, I agree. And actually, that was one of my questions because obviously Ken Dorsey just got fired and now he's taking over for the Browns. Is Stefanski still going to make the play calls? Do we know if Dorsey?
They just announced it this morning or last night that
they?
Stefanski is still calling the plays. And the only reason I know that is I just saw it. That just got announced.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. I mean, in that case, you kind of have to, right? Like Chubb's not going to be available for a while. And I actually like their pass catchers, it's actually pretty deep. We got, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy now, obviously the main guys. So, I mean, Njoku, Pro Bowler last year, played really well. So, you kind of have to, but the problem is you need a quarterback. So there's that one little issue with Mr. Deshaun Watson. I mean, it all comes down to him, really.
Yeah. Hold on. I forgot to put the images. Now, here's the thing, though. We saw... Now, what I like about the Browns, and Prop Beaver wrote this down, and I think it's a great way to phrase it. Think of the adversity this team went through. They lost their offensive tackles, right? They lost. I'll read exactly what he wrote because it's phrased perfectly. All right, so keep all this in mind. The Browns won 11 games last year. 11 games, during which where the heck? Sorry. Okay. What the fuck? Jets, we did already. My bad. This is such a long table here.
11 games with Joe Flacco. Yes.
Yeah. Well, they won football games with 4 different quarterbacks last year.
Absolutely insane. Yeah.
Jack Conklin, both of their offensive tackles got hurt out for the season. In fact, they lost 3 offensive tackles because DeJuan Jones, the third one, came in and got hurt also. So they have their 4th and 5th offensive tackles playing a majority of the season. They lost their safety in Grant Delpit from LSU. They lost Rodney McLeod as well. 2 key members of their secondary out for the season. Deshaun Watson out for the season. They brought in Dorian Thompson-Robinson out for the season. Well, actually, he got a concussion and missed a couple of games. But they brought in then Joe Flacco, who wasn't even employed. How did this team win 11 games? I mean, Myles Garrett was even taking press conferences in an arm sling. Amari Cooper was playing banged up. David Njoku was hurt. He had facial burns. He got like in a bonfire or something. I mean, this team... No team saw as much adversity as the Cleveland Browns did, and they won 11 games. And I'm wondering, what do you want to start with, offense or defense?
We'll go offense.
Okay.
Just to piggyback off that, like, is this the fishiest, weirdest line you've seen? So they win 11 games with backups, right? All the guys are coming back, and now we have an 8.5 total. We'll talk about that later, I know, but it's wild. But wild. And the O-line, like you said, I mean, there's just injuries left and right. This team kind of reminds me of the Jets in a little bit. I know we talked about the Jets. in regards to what they have, defense and all that kind of stuff. But their O-line, I mean, by Pro Football Focus, ranked 4th this year already. With everyone healthy, they got a good O-line. We know that once they can stay healthy. So
yeah, and staying healthy is definitely a big question mark because I think we all assumed that Conklin and Jedrick Wills would be back, but actually in training camp, they're still on the physically unable to perform list. Now, I think there's a chance they are back for week 1, but by no means is that set in stone. In my opinion, they just need one of them because that kid, DeJuan Jones, can play. DeJuan Jones was 2nd in football in, pressure rate allowed via all rookie offensive linemen. So that kid, DeJuan Jones, if they have to start him because one of those 2 main tackles are hurt, they'll be fine. So
that's huge. Yeah, you don't see rookies do that too. And when was he drafted? Do you remember? I don't even think he was that high. Was he? Maybe he was. I don't remember. But
Prop Beaver says he believes he was a 3rd-round pick.
Okay, very, very impressive. That's for sure.
And there's a couple reasons that it looks like the Browns are transitioning into a passing offense. And like you said, obviously Nick Chubb, we don't know what his deal is. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think that we don't even see Nick Chubb to the second half of the season. Nobody knows that for sure. In fact, I did read a report that it was looking pretty optimistic, but still, no one knows his status. No one knows what condition he'll be in when he returns. But in addition to that, like you said, they bring in Ken Dorsey, who, if you remember, before he got fired in Buffalo, they were throwing the ball a lot. It's when they transitioned over to Brady's when they started running the ball. So Ken Dorsey likes to throw the ball. Stefanski, he's kind of getting tagged as like a guy that likes to run the football, but that's not really what he was doing in Minnesota before he came here. He was throwing it. So I think the reason that he was running the ball so much is that kind of how his team was built. And he's, in my opinion, slowly transitioning to a team that can throw the football. I mean, they drafted some wide receivers recently. They didn't really have many picks this year, but they did bring in a wide receiver with their 2nd pick, which was actually the 3rd overall pick. Wow. Watson, I mean, they spent money on a quarterback indicating they want to throw the ball. How that pans out is still.
Can I remind people about Deshaun real quick? The Cleveland Browns gave up 3 first-round draft picks and then paid him $230 million, and that's fully guaranteed as one of the worst contracts in the history of sports. He has not played 7 or more games since 2020. So how could we expect a quarterback when I think as a quarterback, you need to see game reps. You need to see it over and over and over again between injuries, his suspension. How are we going to expect this? I mean, do we have to handicap this team as a Jameis Winston team with Jerome Ford? Because obviously Deshaun is going to come back, but a cracked shoulder, all this stuff, like it's going to be brutal for this team, I think.
Well, okay. I think I disagree a little bit, but it's not because I think Deshaun Watson is going to. I think the way this team is built with the defense, I think they need a quarterback to go in there and be decent, and they can win a bunch of games, kind of like we saw with Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco put up some stats, but if you actually looked, he was like 23rd in DYAR. He wasn't anything crazy analytically. And I mean, Deshaun Watson, look, I'm not a Deshaun Watson guy or anything. They were 5-1 in the games he played. So, 4-1. He got hurt in the one.
And he did average like 175 yards per game passing.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
Yeah, look, I'm not a Deshaun Watson guy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think they're setting it up where all he has to be is decent.
Yeah, and kind of like the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, like I was saying. But yeah, he just has to be decent. But I don't know if he can be. I mean, I was looking at stats. Gardner Minshew, by the way, since 2020 has played 35 games. Deshaun Watson, 28. He's just not playing. And I don't know if it's just injuries or mentally because of what's going on with him. But I just don't see a happy ending for him again this year. So.
Yeah, I can't disagree with I'm not optimistic about Deshaun Watson per se, but I think that they've set the bar pretty low on what he needs to do. I'll say that. But on the other side of the ball, I don't see any logical reason why the defense isn't top 3 in the NFL again. I mean, they did lose that linebacker, Anthony Walker Jr., who was a big part of the defense, but they brought in Jordan Hicks, who might even be an upgrade. So
I mean, Hicks has 5 straight seasons now of 100+ tackles. I mean, they're not losing anything there, in my opinion. So, I can't even say it. Never say that guy's name right. But man, last year, Owusu Koramoah, I think it is. Man, he was a stud for the Browns. But I mean, I don't know what you think. I don't even know what the strength of this team is because there's so many. Like the trio of DBs is elite. Also,
They had one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Now it's weird because they actually struggled on the road, which we could talk about. I don't know what we really
I talked about that last year a lot. It was like they gave up at one point. They gave up the most points in the league on the road and the least at home. It was the weirdest. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like there might be something to that. But as a whole, they had one of the best pass defenses in the NFL, right? One of the best pass defenses in the NFL. And this year they're coming in with a healthy Delpit. They're coming in with a healthy Rodney McLeod. So I don't understand how they're not one of the best pass defenses in the NFL again. They still got Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith on the two sides.
Yep.
So I as far as defense, they're going to be elite again.
I agree. And they had some depth. Alex Wright, I think, had 5 sacks or something like that. But this DBs, I looked into this. So obviously you got Denzel Ward, one of the best in the game, had a quarterback rating against him of 49. Mark Emerson, 14 passes deflected, 4 INTs, and had a low 40s QB rating against him. Greg Newsome, sub 70 QB allowed, 14 passes defended. I mean, these guys were elite. It was unbelievable. And I think they work hand in hand, obviously. It's easier to be a good DB when you're getting pressure on quarterbacks, like this team did, a lot. So I don't see, and what I love about it, we haven't even mentioned it, Jim Schwartz. I mean, he's one of the best defensive coordinators out there, in my opinion. His teams always play hard. So I think we're going to get another elite defense, and it's going to be up to Deshaun. This is one of the weirdest teams because we're not talking about a different team.
Yeah.
We're taking the exact same team, just healthier, but there's not many changes to it. So,
yeah. So which kind of brings me back to, I think if Deshaun Watson can be an average quarterback, give me 16th best quarterback in the NFL, I think the Browns win 11 games again. Would you agree with that?
I do, but are you just assuming then Jerome Ford and they have a decent running game until Chubb gets back? Because their O-line can handle it, which is a big part of it. But
I think the way I see the offense is, I think they have a functional passing offense as far as pass blocking, receiving weapons, like we saw with Joe Flacco, where it's not that Joe Flacco was really setting the world on fire. His stats kind of showed it, but really they just started slinging the ball and it was working. I think that Deshaun Watson can put up some bigger stats this year without playing anything better than average, just by the way they've built the offense, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I agree. Yeah, but man, Flacco was pretty fun to watch yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. My whole channel thinks I look like Joe Flacco, so they call me Flacco all the time.
Holy shit, I actually could see that. We're putting Joe Flacco under his name the next time he comes on.
Yeah, someone asked me that at a grocery store even one time.
So they're going to be like, oh, shit, Kyle got Flacco on? So let's pull up the schedule and play the win-loss game. Propier's going to get it up on the screen. The moment of truth. Are we getting to the magic number of 9 wins? Now, we're polling, as far as the people watching right now, 66% say over 8.5. 34% say under 8.5. So we're polling towards the over. Propier's getting the schedule up right now, and then we'll go game at a time. This is always the toughest part because you could say what you think about everything, and then you look at it and you're like, oh shit.
I know you can't do it without looking at a schedule. I mean, you have to. Yeah. And why he brings it up, I will just say they have the 3rd toughest schedule in the NFL based on expected win totals. So it ain't going to be easy. I mean, obviously one of the hardest divisions out there. So
I think they could beat Dallas in week 1. I know it's crazy. But I
with the health is what worries me. If that's in week 7, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Deshaun, I don't know. I don't know. If
and also, you're right with the health of the tackles, especially because 2 years in a row now we've seen Dallas pass rush look elite in weeks 1 through 6, and then look not elite at the end of the season.
Yep.
So I agree that we're probably looking at a loss there. What's the line on that game?
Oh, I don't have that.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Week 1. Cowboys, Browns. Cowboys are catching 1.5. So that's a coin flip. Let's count it as a loss.
All right.
At Jacksonville.
Every time I see Jacksonville on anyone's schedule, I don't know what to do with it. So they can beat
such high variance.
Yeah.
Another coin flip. So let's say, how about this? We'll give them one of those 2 games.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we're at 1 win. We're in week 3 against the Giants. That's a win.
Yep.
Week 4 against the Raiders, that's a win.
Probably.
Yeah, week 5 against the Commanders, that's a win. So we're 4-1 right now. Without
so yeah, you're going to lose that positivity soon, but okay, keep going.
Yeah. 4-1. We lose in Philly, assumably. Versus Cincinnati, probably a loss. Versus Baltimore, I mean, I feel like they'll take one of those games at home. In Cleveland, didn't both those teams lose in Cleveland last year?
I believe so. Yeah. So I kind of have them for 3-3 in the division, to be honest. But
let's see. Baltimore, they beat. Oh no, I'm sorry. They beat Baltimore in Baltimore, actually.
they go back, and then Baltimore won in Cleveland. Was that it?
And they beat Cincinnati. So let's say they take one of those games, those Week 7, 8 games. That puts them at 4-4. Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 4-4. That puts them at 4-4. Home against Chargers, that's a win. So we're 5-4 in the bye week at New Orleans. Ugh.
It should be a win.
Be a win.
Yeah.
So let's say 6-4.
Chubb's return coming soon. Yeah.
Yeah, like home against Steelers. I mean, depending on what you think at Pittsburgh. If this game was in Pittsburgh, I'd probably give it to the Steelers. But
yeah, I like the I hate the Steelers, by the way, but I like the Steelers this year. I think they're going to be pretty dang good.
All right, so let's call one win out of the New Orleans and Pittsburgh games.
Yep.
They drop one, so that puts us at 6-5. At Denver, probably.
Denver is hot garbage.
Yeah, so let's give them a win there. 7-5. At Pittsburgh, they'll take one of the Pittsburgh games, but let's just call this one a loss. 7-6,
and then it gets absolutely brutal.
Damn, 8.5 is tough.
Man, I don't know.
I think
I have it where I think they get 8 or 9 wins. Like I think it's spot on. To be honest with you,
I would go over. Put up over 8.5 for me. The minus 135 will probably keep this one for being one of my favorites.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I lean under, because it's plus money, because I think it's 8 or 9 is where they end to this year.
Right. So at the plus money, why not take?
Yeah.
Would this be? I don't know if you do future bets. What I do every year is I put out my favorite 5. This would not be in one of my favorite 5s.
No, it wouldn't. I don't always do over wins. I try to do more plus money. Winning a division, things like that. But no, I don't love it. Here's my question. If this is a team that likes to take care of the ball, play defense, why the hell did they get Jameis Winston? Like, I know he's done
he
better.
Doesn't exactly fit the mold.
No, not exactly. Pick 6 Winston? No, I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. But either way, I think they're a good team, but we'll see. It's all up to Deshaun.
All right. Steve, thanks for joining, man. Steve already texted me I just read the text a few minutes ago. So Monday for the Ravens, Wednesday for the Colts. You're in, right?
Yep, those two
cool.
I'm in. Let's have some fun talking football.
Yeah, man. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you then.
All right. You too. Appreciate it.
All right, Andrew. Let's talk some Toledo's. I think we might have, by the way, rushed our judgment a little bit on some of these MAC predictions, because I'm looking at Toledo and they're going to take a step backwards, bro. Well, then why were when we were doing the win-loss game in the MAC, or every single time they see a Toledo, we're like, loss. Like, I don't know.
I think that's because they are still so much more significantly talented than everybody else, in my opinion.
Oh, I'll put it in there. Hold on one sec. I have Andy's name in. 1 second. To Andy, and that's in video stuff, 5 graphics, names. I dropped it in there. Okay.
There it is.
All right. So Toledo. Same. All right. So as you know, they lost in the MAC championship. Back-to-back trips to the MAC championship game now. They do bring back head coach Jason Candle for his 8th season. Bring back the same coaching staff. Now, something I noticed is we kind of saw the same pattern with Toledo when he first got there. He built the program up quickly. They won a conference championship, and then there was like a year or two rebuild. After that, kind of looks like we might be looking at something along those lines. The roster got gutted. Let's let Prop River get some Toledo graphics on the screen. Scrolling. Oh, first we'll get the poll going here. But Toledo's roster got gutted. As you know, Daquan Finn is gone. He's now playing for Baylor. Also, they lost their star running back, Penny Boone. He's now on Louisville. So the two main pieces of this Toledo offense that led them to the MAC championship game are now gone. They're on Louisville and they're on Baylor.
Yeah, that The them getting trashed by the portal / graduation's big to me. Obviously, that they're not bringing much talent back, but they do so well kind of recruiting that I think they're significantly better than everybody else in the MAC most years, which is why I'm actually surprised they haven't won more MAC championships in his time there. But yeah, I think they still have the talent. I think the guys behind DeQuan and the running backs behind Boone last year were still serviceable guys. It's going to be interesting to see because the last time he went through this rebuild, he was very successful. And if this is going to be another soft rebuild, then it's going to be a very unpredictable season for this team. I think the first couple of weeks are really going to show us kind of what this team can be.
Tucker Gleason looked like shit in the bowl game.
He did. That bowl game was almost unwatchable.
So if you don't know who I'm talking about, Tucker Gleason is probably going to be getting the quarterback job here from DeQuan Finn. And last year, obviously, DeQuan Finn entered the portal, didn't play in the bowl game. So that was like our first real look at Tucker Gleason as the quarterback of this team. They lost that game 16-15. Their only touchdown was an 80-yard touchdown run. So Tucker Gleason did nothing in that bowl game. He dropped back to pass 34 times also. So it's not like they didn't give him any opportunities. He dropped back to pass 34 times, did nothing. Had like 170. He had like 5 yards per pass attempt. It was terrible. So I'm not confident that this dude immediately jumps in and fills the shoes of DeQuan Finn, especially with the star running back gone. Yeah. They also lost their best linebacker, best defender, leading tackler. He's on the Minnesota Vikings now. He's gone. Now, ready for this? All 5 starters from the offensive line are gone for Toledo. All 5, Andy. All 5.
Yeah, and they were pretty good O-line. This team was like, it was weird. There was only like one facet of the whole game that they weren't particularly great at. It was their run defense. But like, other than that, like, they were pretty perfect at everything. They were better than everybody else in the MAC at everything. And I think now they'll kind of just come down back to the means, I guess, what a MAC team would be. And with one more thing on Gleason is, you look at his stats and you're like, wow, 8 touchdowns and 2 starts. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Good stat. He threw 48% completion percentage. So like, this guy wasn't doing a good job even when he was in there, no matter what the touchdowns or all that says. Like, and that bowl game, like I said, unwatchable. But yeah, this team was pretty good in every facet last year, and losing all those guys is huge. So that's why I think, like, as easy as their game should be early, they're important, because are these guys going to come in and fill the role of a DeQuan Finn? Because, like, I think you were one of the people that were like, I don't know if he's as good as his stats say. I love DeQuan Finn, and that's why I think Baylor's going to be better than a lot of people are thinking, because I thought he was a really good player and he carried this offense a lot, and obviously Boone too. Losing him, obviously huge. Losing all the people they lost to on defense is huge too. So it's a replacement team right now. It's all new guys, and we're just assuming because of the name Toledo's on their helmet that they're going to be really good. And I think we're guilty of it because we did it yesterday and we did it the day before. So like we're naturally assuming because it's Toledo they're going to be good. But
yeah, well, like we're like penciling them up for 7-1 or whatever in the conference already.
Yeah,
and I like Northern Illinois better than Toledo in this conference.
I think Bowling Green's better than Toledo too.
Yeah, well, I bet I put them around the same. How about that? Now the defensive front should be okay, which is huge because there's a lot of teams in this conference. Your Central Michigans, your Western Michigans that are going to come out looking to run the ball. Ohio is going to have a strong rushing attack. So I actually think their defensive front 7 should be okay. They did lose some starters, but they brought in a few nice pieces from the portal. The run defense was decent last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's decent again, maybe even slightly better this year. So that's huge that their defensive front 7 should be good, should be just as good, every bit as good as it was last year when you play in a conference that has a lot of rushing attacks. So I like that for Toledo, but I'm a little worried about the secondary, returning just one starter. Now, they were really deep last year, so by no means am I saying they're going to be a bad secondary. They also brought in a guy named Jadarius Perkins from Florida in the portal. So I'm not saying that their secondary is going to be all of a sudden bad, but maybe not where they were last year. And where they were last year was pretty good. They are actually 10th or 11th in the country in pass defense success rate. And now part of that is definitely they can thank playing in the conference that they play because there wasn't many quarterbacks in it. So yeah, it's easy to rack up some really nice looking pass defense numbers playing in the MAC, but
I lost.
What, you don't see me? I see him. He does.
I do something? Or am I still in it? It looks like I'm still in it. I'll just wait for him. I know he's coming back. There he is.
So
He's
yeah,
coming. There he is.
By
There.
no
I don't
means-
hear him though.
you don't hear me? Leave and come back. Tell him.
I don't hear you. I can't hear you. I'll leave and come back.
All right. So by no means do I think Toledo's secondary is going to be bad, but I think maybe a slight step back. So yeah, I think this team's definitely going to be worse. And let's bring up the schedule when we get Andy back in here and do wins losses for Toledo. Can you hear me? All right, cool. All right, Prop Beaver's going to pull up the schedule now.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Somebody in the comments said going from Florida to Toledo, yuck. I'm gonna assume playing time had something to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, going from sitting the bench at Florida to starting at Toledo, I believe would be the motivation there.
Love that.
Show is a joke, day in and day out. Signed, somebody who watches it every day. Who are these people? Watch something else, you fucking moron. All right, put up the schedule. Toledo schedule.
There's a 2-0 for sure here.
Yeah, win against Duquesne. Win against UMass.
Yeah.
At Mississippi State is a loss. At Western Kentucky is a loss.
Yeah.
Home against Miami, Ohio.
I think I'm higher on Miami of Ohio, surprisingly. So I
Yeah,
would
but the
probably
game's
go
in
Miami.
Toledo.
Yeah. Early in the season though, I don't think it'll
Oh,
matter.
that's a coin
as much.
flip. That's a coin
Yeah.
flip. At Buffalo's a win. So that puts us at 3.5 wins.
Yeah,
At
I
Northern
know where
Illinois
you're
is a
going with
loss.
the next one. Yeah.
Nope.
I knew you were going
Home
there.
against
with that one.
Bowling Green's a coin flip. So we'll put them at 4 wins because I say they'll win either Miami, Ohio, or Bowling Green. So it puts them at 4 wins. At Eastern Michigan is 5 wins. Home against Central Michigan, probably 6 wins. Home against Ohio, 7 wins. Away at Akron, that's only 8 wins.
Yeah.
Give me the under. Damn it, it's
Yeah,
minus
I like
140.
that.
It's minus
I like the under too, but
140
it's
though.
juiced. Do you, in a perfect world, I mean, could you see them stealing a Western Kentucky? I mean, they'd honestly have to go undefeated in MAC play if they were going to win.
The way I'm thinking is, in order for me to, if I bet this, in order for me to lose this bet, they're going to have to win all 3 of these games: Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, and at Western. Oh no, they're going to have to win both of those games: Bowling Green and Western Ohio. I'm sorry, Miami of Ohio, and I think they drop one of those 2. Which puts me in the money here. Toledo under 8.5 wins. Next team.
I don't see it.
And by the way, hold on. You could go to the next team properly. After when Toledo had the rebuild after they went 11-3 in Candle's second year, they went 7-6. I'm sorry, they went 7-6, 6-6 for the next 2 years. So the Toledo rebuild is real. It has happened. Who's up next? Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan.
This is an interesting one.
Yeah.
So Eastern Michigan obviously was absolute ass last year.
You say that, but like, were they the worst 6-6 team you've ever seen? I was
Ever.
stunned to like realize they made a bowl game. Like when they were in a bowl game.
Well, did you
Probably
see
the
their
worst team
wins
they-
though?
Well, yeah, but still, 6-6 is 6-6.
What's their best win? What's
Let
their
me
best
pull it
win?
back
What was
up.
the best win on their schedule last year?
Let me pull it back up. I remember looking at it. I was like, well, that's
Home against Ball State. Maybe their
a
best.
solid win.
They played the easiest schedule known to man last year. This is like the biggest sneaking into a bowl game of all time.
Beat UMass against. These are the easiest games possible, and Howard shouldn't even count. So yeah,
They beat. Hold on. So they beat Massachusetts. They beat UMass, Howard, home against Ball State, home against Kent State, home against Akron, and Buffalo. They played the 4 worst.
you could
teams
argue
in the conference.
You could argue those are 6 of the 10 worst teams in the country.
In the country.
In the country, that's crazy. Yeah, they got lucky, and that's not happening this year. They have some tougher games.
That being said, I think they did improve. Creighton's back for his 11th season as head coach. I don't care that both quarterbacks transfer because I think Cole Snyder's an upgrade.
Yeah,
Wrong?
yeah, I agreed with that. That this is an upgrade at quarterback.
Okay, so they bring in Cole Snyder through the transfer portal to play quarterback. He spent 2 years with Rutgers, 2 years with Buffalo. So this is a guy with experience. Eastern Michigan, as trash as they were last year and as bad as they were at quarterback with Austin Smith, they're coming into this season with one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the conference. So Cole Snyder, definitely an upgrade through the portal. I like what they did at quarterback. They also, I don't know if you saw, they also brought in a quarterback from Minnesota, freshman. I would imagine that's their guy for 2025, though.
Yeah, that's a guy for the future. This is Cole Snyder's team this year. You've seen, I think Oregon did that too. They had Dylan Gabriel and Dante Moore. Some teams will bring 2 in and tell the guy, like, look, you're going to sit behind somebody who's pretty good, but you're going to learn a lot and develop. So yeah, that's that situation.
Got it. They did lose both their running backs, but they added 2 in the portal. So that should be every bit as good. So that no drop off there. They actually brought in a running back and a receiver from NC State, both. I would imagine they're friends. So I even skill positions might be an upgrade. They did lose their leading wide receiver, but like I said, Eastern Michigan kind of killed it in the transfer portal, man. They lost 3 starters in the offensive line, but they brought in a kid they like through the portal. Look, the offense, Eastern Michigan's offense will be significantly better. You want to know how I know that I'm dead ass right about that? Because they couldn't possibly get any worse than they were last year. They were so bad. Like, go to their offensive numbers from last year, Prop Fever. They were one of the worst offenses in the country last season. So they got to upgrade at quarterback. I think they're going to be upgraded at the skill positions, and offensive line should be about the same. So offense is going to be better. That being said, I don't really know what I think about the defense. I mean, they lost. This was the strength of the team last year, was their defense. But I mean, it's not like the defense was even that good. It was okay. They played one of the easiest schedules in the country, and they put up okay defensive numbers doing it. They pretty much lost their entire secondary. I mean, they brought back a couple pieces on the defense. They brought in a couple pieces that they like through the portal. A couple of the main guys on the defensive line, but as a whole, this is the strength of the team, and there's definitely some left to be desired here. I think the defense could take a step backwards. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. I was surprised. I mean, they had a top 30 in success rate in pass defense, so that's pretty good. But
look at the quarterbacks they played last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be because of that. I mean, it's weird because on their offensive side, you look at their run defense, their run offense, it was like slightly less red. So they did have a little bit of talent there, losing them. But I thought they filled in their holes pretty perfectly, bringing in Power 5 running back, no matter if they played or didn't play. Somebody was recruited as a Power 5 running back at NC State. That's a pretty big pickup for a smaller school like this. So with this team, it's kind of the same thing. I think they plugged in the positions that they lost. They obviously, like you said, they benefited from the schedule, but I think plugging in those players is huge for this team because they couldn't get worse. They could only get a little bit better, and that's kind of how I feel about them.
Yeah. Now, the way I'm thinking, looking at a week 1 bet, August 31st, Eastern Michigan on the road in UMass, over 49.5.
See, I have looked at UMass up and down, and I think the over in that game actually should hit because neither team has very good defenses. But I think it is an 0-1 start for EMU, actually.
You think? It definitely is.
I mean, for EMU, not for UMass.
No, I know. I think UMass wins that game also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's do that. Let's do the win-loss game. Let's get the schedule up there.
And because of the way their schedule was built last year, they didn't have a loss in their non-conference like that. But week 2, they decided to get a little cute, and it probably should result in could be an 0-2 start.
What do you mean could be an 0-2? Yeah, it's probably
well, I mean, the UMass game people will look at as a toss because UMass, in theory, isn't a very good team either. They're over 3.5, so they're not looked at as a very highly team. That's a coin toss, but the Washington loss obviously is. and
Yeah.
Jacksonville State too.
No, I think they could beat Jacksonville State. I think that.
That'd be
How about this? They'll take one of Jacksonville State or UMass.
Yeah,
Give them one.
I could see that.
One
Yeah.
win. They'll beat St. Francis. That's 2.
I hope so.
I think they beat Kent State.
Yeah. Even at Kent State, I really don't think that team's gonna win a conference game. So
3. Home against Miami Ohio is probably a loss.
yeah,
Home against Central Michigan, probably a loss. At Akron,
they could go into Akron and win that game.
Ah.
They're both kind of similar teams. They're like we're waiting to kind
they'll
of
have
see
the
who
more
they are.
experienced quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. We'll give it to him, I guess. What does that put us at? 4?
Yeah. 4.
At Ohio's a loss. Home against Buffalo's winnable. That's 5.
That one's a revenge game too. That's a win. They're gonna win that one.
Yeah, but if you want to play, that's the revenge game.
It's a
angle.
revenge game for them too. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a revenge game. Okay, you're going to give them Buffalo because of the revenge game. Then going on the road in Akron and going on the road in Kent State should be losses if you're playing the revenge game. Because
I was just saying a revenge game for Snyder.
I think they beat either UMass or Jacksonville State, and they beat St. Francis. So we're looking at 2-2 heading into Kent State, and then so the question is, can we find 3 more wins? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think they won 5. I have them down as 4-5 because I think that
yeah,
UMass
well, that
game
doesn't
is
tell us much. The total's at 4.5.
so, like, yeah, so like, I'd probably lean toward 5 because I think they'll pull away in one of those games.
Yeah, let's go over.
In the probably the Buffalo game or
The quarterback experience will steal him a game.
a quarterback that has MAC experience too. So he's played in all these games before, basically just in a different uniform. Yeah, I like this. I thought they like improved enough to where I'm like they're not going to win as many games as they win last year because of their schedule, but they plugged in the holes they needed, so they're not a bad team.
All right, let's move on to the next game.
Oh yeah.
Andy's time is now.
Yeah. If you look at the return, let me pull it all up. If you look at the returning production, obviously doesn't look very good, right? 91st on offense. They lost their leading rusher, but they bring back their quarterback Tyson Pomachan. I learned how to say his name. In the games that they lost last year, and I thought it was interesting. In the games they lost to Eastern Michigan, Toledo, Miami, Ohio, Connecticut. Those are 4 teams that are on their schedule again. They're playing a MAC schedule. Literally playing 7 or 6 MAC teams or 5 MAC teams because they're going to the MAC next year. But I thought that this team slightly got worse on offense, but their defense is about the same. Should be fine. But I thought my main love for this team is I think their schedule sets up perfectly. They have the games where they're going to be their bye games where they're going to get their asses kicked, but I think it sets up perfectly for them. I think having a quarterback that can run, they brought in a running, they kept a running back that had about 200 yards last year. He was behind a 1,000-yard rusher who went to Michigan State. So you can't control. This team lost 2 of their top 2 rushers. Both of them are going to be playing for a Big Ten school, and then Memphis, who might make the college football playoff. So they lost a lot of talent there, but they had guys behind them. Don Brown always has a good running back. Their quarterback situation's clearer now because Pomachan had to watch behind him last year. When Davis was at quarterback, Davis is gone now. They're back up now. This guy, he can throw, he can run as well. So I think they'll have a freer offense. So I like the way that they're going to move the ball down the field. Really, that was the thing, and I thought their schedule set up perfectly. So I want to know how you feel about it.
Okay, so I agree with a lot of what you said. They lost some weapons, but I like the weapons they brought in. They brought in 2 tight ends, one from San Jose State and one from I didn't write down where the other one was from, but they brought in 2 tight ends through the portal, which is nice for Taysom, the quarterback. Definitely like the weapons at receiver. They brought back their leading wide receiver, lost the rest of them, but they brought in a couple through the portal. A guy named Keyshawn Brown from Duquesne. It's probably going to be WR3 out there. Here's the thing. I'm a little worried about the pass protection. Probably pull up Taysom's numbers when pressured last year. Now, he did miss a chunk of the season, and we're talking about small sample size. I think he only played in 7 games. Definitely a huge drop-off in production when this kid saw pressure. This offensive line lost 3 starters. Are they going to be able to protect them? Now, something else, people, when you talk about a quarterback taking pressure, we always go to the offensive line, right? That's where we think to look. There are other places to look. Having backs to dump it off to can help with that, and having tight ends like the 2 they just brought in through the portal. So I don't know. I don't know much about UMass offensive line. I know that they lost 3 starters. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it. But if they are able to protect Taysom behind the line of scrimmage,
Pomachan.
I wasn't even going to try it. Pomachan. They were able to protect Pomachan behind the line of scrimmage. Then this offense should move. It should be better than last year.
And I, like I said, a lot of it is because I think their schedule is going to set up right for them. But I really do think this team's going to be improved from what they were last year. We mentioned that he didn't play a couple of games last year. The guy that came in was really good, actually. Carlton Davis, who's not there anymore. I think he graduated. And we're going to talk. I'll bring it up more at the schedule. But the reason it sets up well is because 2 of their losses last year are 2 teams they didn't play, obviously, are 2 games that Pomachan did not play in as well, and I think that sets up good. They were close losses too, so I think
I like that. I like that as well. And the defense. Okay, so prop people, go to UMass's defensive stats, please. Spoiler alert: they're terrible. But here's the thing: normally, when you look at returning production, you're like, oh, they lost a bunch of starters, and UMass did lose a bunch of starters on defense. Is that necessarily a bad thing? Because this team did well in the portal. They brought in a corner from Notre Dame, Ryan Barnes. They brought in an edge rusher from Wake Forest. I didn't even write down his name. They brought in a linebacker from Dartmouth. He was first team All Ivy League last year. So first team All Ivy League Conference last year, linebacker. So yeah, they lost a bunch of starters, but the defense was shit last year. So losing a bunch of starters and bringing in new faces through the portal, there's nowhere to go but up. So I actually think UMass's defense takes a step up despite losing a bunch of starters. Keep in mind, like I said, this is one of the worst defenses in college football last year. So UMass is going to be better. And I like how you mentioned they play a lot of revenge games on here. We just talked about the Eastern Michigan game in week 1. That could be a win. We both alluded to how we think that might be a win. So let's go ahead and pull the schedule up, Prop Beaver.
Yeah.
We said that Eastern Michigan would win either that one or the next one. For this purpose, let's say they lose this one and beat Jacksonville State. How about that?
Yeah, I think that's how it will. I think it's more likely that that's how it will go.
So let's go ahead and look at UMass schedule. Eastern Michigan, week 1, W. At Toledo, winnable? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's not a lot.
Oh, no. I thought you said I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you for a second. I don't know if he did that.
No, that's a loss. At Buffalo's winnable.
That's a win. I got it for a win.
You're talking up for a win already. They're gonna beat the underdogs in the game.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
Well,
I think it'll be slight though. I don't think it'll be that much.
If you're giving them the Buffalo game, we're giving them Central Connecticut, so we're already at 3, and we only.
I'm aware. That's why I like this team.
At Miami, Ohio lost. At Northern Illinois lost. Missouri lost.
They're hosting Missouri for some reason. They're hosting. Missouri's going to them. That's a weird one. So that'll be a loss. But
Wagner's your 4th win, and then UConn's winnable at the end.
Yeah, I have them getting 5 wins this year. I really like it. And that Eastern Michigan game, just to drill that Eastern Michigan game in. Last year they lost to Eastern Michigan 19-17. Pomachan didn't play, and their leading rusher in that game got hurt at the end of the game, so he wasn't in for their final drive. So like they probably should have won that EMU game anyway because Pomachan would have started. So that's why I love that turning into a win. I like the Buffalo win. Playing 2 FCS teams is what it is. I think this is a 5-win team, and I'm surprised because I don't think UConn. And we're about to talk about UConn. That game was close last year too, or they played UConn last year too, and UConn was much better than they were last year. And so I think this is a winnable game this year.
Let's do it. UMass over. We're on it.
Only lost by 2 touchdowns.
Next up, UConn. Not the biggest UConn guy here, Andy. Not the biggest
either. Yeah.
So I mean, this kid Nick Evers finally gets to play, right? If you don't know who Nick Evers is, he was very highly recruited, committed to Oklahoma first, didn't get any time, transferred to Wisconsin, didn't get any time, and now he's transferring to UConn, and I'm reading he's still going to have to compete for the job.
Oh yeah, they've got Fagnano is how you say it.
Right.
He started game 1 last year.
Yeah.
Got hurt and then never played again, or he might have played. I don't even think he played ever again. From what I read this morning, Evers should start, but it could be a situation like last year where like they
I
like
think it was
this
in
kid.
Phil Steele. They're saying he's
Yeah.
gonna have to compete for the job.
Yeah, and they have two other guys that have obviously aren't going to play much, but they are like they could fight him for the backup position. So like, there's no telling who's going to be the consistent guy for them. Because I thought it was crazy that Fagnano started game 1 last year against NC State, because he was an FCS guy who had played a lot in the FCS, but like you don't know what that's going to translate. And they had Zion Turner on the team, but they just started him anyway. So like this coaching staff's very weird with that.
Yeah. So a lot of uncertainty at quarterback here for UConn. What are your thoughts on the rest of the offense, though?
So yeah, the way that this team has gone is it is the opposite of what I would have expected. Jim Mora has NFL experience as a coach. Obviously, his father was an NFL coach as well. This team has gone opposite directions from what I would expect. Their offense under him has gotten worse every year, which whatever, it's UConn, right? Their defense has gotten better every year. So like they're complete opposite on each side. They're not really meeting in the middle, which is why they won 6 games and made the Bahamas Bowl or the Myrtle Beach Bowl or whatever the year before, lost to Marshall. And then last year they barely could win these games. I mean, one of their wins was an FCS game. Like they were a very bad football team. I think they were worse than 3 wins last year, even though they won 3 games. So like they've been completely weird in the first 2 years of Jim Mora. So, and now not really bringing much back to supplement that on offense either. Like I don't see this team as even competitive in a lot of their games. Like they're just not going in the right direction. So
yeah, and I think that I'm same. I agree with you. And of the 4 teams we did today, this is the last one. This is the one I looked at the least, but I agree. I'm not big on this team either, and I think they got off to. It was 2 years ago where they went on that little run, and everyone's like, UConn football, Mora saved it. And I still think, as far as the public perception about UConn, I still think it's riding that wave. And kind of people are kind of ignoring that this team really doesn't look good. So I am not a UConn guy this year.
Yeah, and I remember that because I was one of those people because I've always wanted UConn to be good at football because like they're great at basketball, so I wanted them to be competitive. And the year before, they just kind of got saved by their schedule. I mean, they played Liberty when Liberty wasn't Liberty yet. Played UMass, FIU, Fresno State that year was terrible, and they beat. That's why they made a bowl, right? Last year, the schedule wasn't that much tougher. They did play Tennessee and Duke, but like those are obvious losses anyway. But like they're getting better at the wrong things, and like the offense. I have it written down. They haven't averaged 20 points per game. That's not even that hard of a line since 2018. Like that's not a difficult line. They averaged 19.1 last year. Their defense is, like I said, got better. The first year, in year 1 of Mora, they played an easier schedule. They still allowed 38 points per game. So like they were bad. They were still bad. They got better. They allowed 29 points per game last year. So like that's getting better. They're not allowing rush yards much. They've been a pretty good rush defense under them, but everything's getting worse otherwise. So like I'm not seeing improvement to the point where I can even put them at 5 wins this year, which is what they would need. Like, so yeah, I don't like this team at all.
Yeah, this is let's pull up the schedule, but I can almost guarantee this is going to be an under for me.
Schedule is not very friendly either. They didn't do a very good job scheduling, although there is a middle of the season where you could see some things.
I didn't look at Temple yet.
Temple is a god-awful football team, but so is UConn, so that could just be one of the worst games of the year.
Well, how about we give them the problem? I mean, they probably should lose to FAU, right?
Yeah, they'll lose to FAU.
So they beat Merrimack.
Yeah.
They beat Buffalo. And
it'll be tight, but yeah, definitely.
And they beat Temple. Let's give them those 3.
And then I don't like it from here on out. I mean, Wake Forest, they're gonna probably. As bad as I think Wake Forest is still gonna
Wake Forest will beat UConn.
Yeah, Rice, Georgia State's probably a loss too. That's year 1 of a head coach. Toward the end of the year, they'll be ready in his system. So
yeah, but I don't like the revenge angle because Georgia State beat the shit out of them last year.
It's a completely new staff at Georgia State. I think they'll be fine by then. They'll be.
So but the thing is, if they get one of Georgia State or Rice,
they're at 4.
Yeah, and I don't.
What are you?
They're losing the last 3.
Yeah, I don't have UMass. I don't have them beating UMass. So like,
me neither.
This is not a favorable schedule to them. These are tough games they're gonna be playing. The Temple game's the easiest one.
So I do like them. I have them at 4. Merrimack, they'll get Buffalo and Temple, and they'll get one of Rice or Georgia State.
Yeah,
So 4 under.
I don't even think I think by Georgia State, and where I think we'll be going over them a couple days, I think they're going to beat them pretty bad too. So this is an under.
Georgia State beat the shit out of them last year.
Georgia State brought in a new coach that everybody loves, and they did pretty good in the portal for a smaller school.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about Georgia State on August 3rd. Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've looked. That's why I know. That's why I know them, because like if you brought up a Mountain West team right now, I'd be like, what the heck? But I've gone through that conference already.
All right, so 2 unders. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Let's have ourselves a good baseball night. We'll be back at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It'll be me and Andy going through some college football. We're going to do this before the MLB this time. So 11 a.m. we'll be back.